You're watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.
Hi everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick. Thanks so much for joining me this morning on CBT News. At the ripe young age of 21 years old, Joe Laham sold his first car. And now as president of Premier Companies, he's running dealerships that are been negotiation free, incidentally, since 1995, when it wasn't even cool to do that. So on today's show, we are diving into his store's operation, talk a little bit about his succession plan with his incredible two sons that are running the company, and some other things that are kind of pressures on today's dealers, and also the Stellantis issue that I know many of you Stellantis dealers are very concerned about. The whole industry is concerned about it. So thank you so much, Joe, for joining us on the show today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Jim.
Sure. So as I mentioned, you've been in the industry a long time. You know, you sold your first car, as I said, at 21 years old. Tell us about the company today. What is the Premier Companies? How many stores and what are the franchises?
So thank you so much. We have several stores, Audi, BMW, Volvo, Mazda, Stellantis. We've actually broken the Stellantis into two stores, one with a Jeep exclusive and one with Chrysler, Dodge, and Ram.
Okay.
We didn't go down the path of putting those two together in one building. We thought it was best to have exclusivity because Jeep is the iconic brand.
Yeah.
We have two Volvo stores, and we just were awarded another open point for BMW.
Wow, that's fantastic. You have got great stores. I mean, I'll get to that Stellantis thing in a minute, but otherwise, you've got some great franchises. We've been blessed with a great opportunity.
We've got Cape Cod as our core market, and we've got a store in Plymouth, and now we're going to open another BMW store in another market. So we're pretty excited, and we love the brands. All of them are different, like our children. They're all personality, and you have to understand them all.
Yeah. Well, speaking of your children, you have your two sons working side by side with you there, Chris and Nick. Talk to me about that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I have 5 children, 3 girls, 2 boys, and the girls at one time had all worked in the stores, and then one thing led to another. They got married, they had children. At one point, my daughter was the GM of a store for us, and she was great at doing that. And the other girls have worked, and they've gone on and done other things now, mostly being parents, and one's just being an aunt. But my 2 sons, Chris and Nick, are a year and a half apart, and I don't want to say that they don't have a great team, because we have an amazing team of people that work in our organization. We have a couple hundred staff members that work with us. So both of them went to the same college, believe it or not. And one of them, Chris, he played Division II football, which if you look at him, he's my size. You'd say, how does that happen? But he did. And Nick and Chris were actively in sports their entire life. And when they weren't doing that, they had a pretty simple philosophy. Yeah. You get yourself to, play some sports or get your ass at work. And there was no option, Jim. I wasn't going to allow them to flounder. The role was success, but quite frankly, you never really know. I mean, how do you know?
That's right.
Who do you know is going to be the best successor? It's tough to gauge,
Yeah, that's right. You mentioned a couple of openings of new points and such. Are you guys on a growth spurt? Are you acquiring new stores? I should say, are you looking to acquire more stores in the future?
So we were just granted 2 things from BMW. One is for store, and one is for their Motorrad, which is the motorcycles. So we're going to open a BMW Motorrad store.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I think over the last few years, the market has been very volatile. Mm-hmm. You've seen prices go through the roof, and before they were down in the gutter, to speak. And I think there's been a transformational change in all of that. And we just have to make sure that we position ourselves. I believe in a debt-free company. Negotiation-free is only one piece of the puzzle. I did that because I knew that if my sons were going to come into the business, or my daughters, I couldn't explain to them how you negotiate. Right. Because I would say, I don't know if we're good negotiators, but the consumers really don't like to negotiate.
Right.
But you have to be really smart about how you set the process in place. So Chris and Nick are a year and a half apart. One's 37, one's 35. And again, they've got a great team of.
They got a lot of runway. That's a lot more stores.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So they definitely will grow the group as they grow themselves. But I'd like to think too young is not good to get the growth spurt. So they're getting to that stage right now where I think in the next couple of years, this is a good foundation built from it.
Yeah, of course.
I couldn't be prouder than to see them grow it, such as your example.
And the business is so incredibly different today in many respects than it was when you and I got into the business in late 70s, early 80s. With regard to digital and what that's brought to the table and how deals are done and how they're figured. We didn't even have a CRM. We didn't have any of that, all the technology. We didn't have BDCs. There wasn't even a thing called a BDC. So the business today is so incredibly different. So who better than two guys in their mid to late 30s to run the organization? Those are today's buyers, right? And tomorrow's buyers.
Well, yeah, I mean, sometimes when you look at the past, you should learn from it and develop the plan for the future.
Sure.
And when we get to our stage, we always wonder, is that the right way to go? And then we think back to when we were their age. Yeah. It wasn't a wall we couldn't crash through or cover or go over.
Yep.
And so you're right. It's the right time. Yeah. The foundation's in place. Like I said, we're debt free. So guess what? They got plenty of runway.
That's great. Yeah, no question about it. There's probably some dealers right now that are thinking, I'm going to call Joe and sell him my store. But let me ask you this, and I'm going to back up.
Give him my number, Jim. We're more than glad to talk to them.
But let me ask you this, because you touched on it a minute ago, and that is and I touched on in the opening of the show, the negotiation free. I happen to be a proponent of that. I was the national sales training manager for AutoNation for a period of my life. And we taught, how to sell cars on a one price structure. And I was very impressed with everything that we did in that, and really became a student of how that's done successfully. There's a number of other auto groups around the country that share that same concept and that philosophy. Talk to me about that, because you've been doing it since 1995. Obviously, CarMax, Kate brought in, they've been doing it for a long time. Is that the future of the industry?
Yeah, I really believe, Jim, that it's not just the negotiation-free side. It's the negotiation-free also internally. Yeah. So we don't pay anybody on commission.
Okay.
All of our sales client advisors, service client advisors, parts client advisors, everyone, including store managers, no one's paid on commission, because that's the nucleus of the problem.
Yeah.
So when if you want to humble yourself to do the right thing, it's called, a long-term committed relationship.
Right.
And that's what we want, both internally and externally.
Right.
So negotiation free is simple, but you have to be really good about it, right? You got to be razor sharp, make sure that your market-based pricing, which we call it, mark to market, is on the money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the psychology of the team has to be the same. And when the consumer says, well, all right, just give me another $500 off and I'll buy the car today, then you have to say, well, I guess I didn't explain this to you correctly. And our line is pretty simple. We say, give the client all the information necessary for them to make a good decision, and then ask them to reward us with their business.
Right.
And that's all it really is. There's no secret to this.
Right.
If you want the information, don't go home. It's right here.
Yeah.
We have a 55-inch monitor at everyone's office. And you open, and you can put everything up on the monitor, show them exactly what it is, and say, look, if you want to go online and see what the value of a car is, let's do it.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be very competitive on that as well. And it's not only the sale, it's if they trade a car, it's the finance.
Sure. We
don't let them mark up the rates in the finance department. Everything's locked in, Jim. We don't let them. Yeah, so a service contract is a service contract, and it's the same price for everybody in that same category. Now, granted, if it's a 30,000-mile car versus a 60,000-mile car, those are different, but we don't allow them to change it.
Let me talk to you about Stellantis. I mean, that you mentioned all those great franchises, and you mentioned Stellantis. That's the one that everybody's talking about today, okay? Dealers are concerned about it. Stellantis dealers want to just wring somebody's neck at the front office there and say, what are you doing? You're getting the wrong mix of cars. What's going on here? So as a Stellantis dealer, and feel free to talk as candid as you can, because that's what we're all about here, because there may be, in fact, I know there are Stellantis executives that watch us. What's your message to them? What are your frustrations? I'm sure they're like many others, but I'll let you take it from there.
So, Jim, I've been with them now. This is our 25th year. It's our oldest store.
Wow. So then you've been through a lot with them.
We've been through a lot. Jeep's an iconic brand. We actually took the Jeep dealer out in the market. We moved to the bigger market. We did a great job for them. We were the number one dealer in this place that you couldn't even imagine. In 2003, we sold more Jeeps in New England than anybody, which is crazy when you saw what we had to deal with, backyard place, really.
Yeah.
And so what I'll tell you is this, is that we've got these great brands, Jeep and Ram. I'm not a proponent of Chrysler and Dodge. Doesn't mean they're not good product. It's just Jeep and Ram are our core brands. There's an old saying, play the hand you dealt.
Yeah.
Stellantis has always been a deal brand. It's always been a good deal brand. They got bought, and somebody even admitted, Carlos said, I got greedy. And he did. And he said that it's on him that he made these mistakes, meaning he thought he could continue to raise and elevate the pricing. Look, the vehicle values are determined by the consumer, not by us.
That's right.
And when we build value into a product, the consumer will pay for it. But we can't be in the same premium segment as Audi and BMW and Mercedes and Lexus. We're not there yet.
No.
Do we have much better product than we've had in the past? Absolutely. I mean, you get into a Jeep Grand Cherokee that's either a limited.
I know. I just rented one. Beautiful car.
They're very. I mean, the interiors are best in class.
Yeah.
And the car looks great, and it goes down the road. The Grand Cherokee L, great products.
Yeah.
Wagoneer, great product. I mean, I had one for a while that everywhere I went, people looked at it.
Yeah.
And we're selling those vehicles. The problem is we've run up against a little bit of a roadblock. And when people get arrogant and people make money, they think it's going to continue forever.
Yeah.
You don't go from almost $1 million to 600,000 by mistake. Somebody had to chart that course of stupidity.
That's right. That's right.
So what I will tell you is, I don't think, and I respectfully will admit that we're not going to air our laundry.
Yeah.
This is not the way we do it. The way we do this, and I know they want to bitch slap that guy. I know they want to do that. And they did. But they also hurt us. They hurt every one of our stores. They hurt every one of our people by putting our shit on the street. We don't need that. And how do we get to these people? Yes, I know it's a fight. We've been fighting with them for 25 years, Jim. It's not like it's tomorrow. Every OEM has got something. Try to deal with the Germans or the Swedes or the Japs. I mean, everyone's got personality. You do, and so do I.
Yeah.
But we don't need to put our laundry on the street. And it's causing us more problems because now the consumers are hearing all this crazy stuff, right?
Yeah.
We don't need that.
Right.
That's not the way to win the battle.
What is the way? What's your recommendation?
There's a way for us to win, for the dealers to collectively get together, stop ordering inventory if that's what it comes down to. That'll get their attention fast.
Oh, that's for sure.
But we don't have to tell everybody that. And I'm not a paid spokesperson for any one of the OEMs, right?
Yeah.
If you get to know me, you'll learn that I absolutely believe.
Oh, no, your reputation precedes you for sure. Yeah.
So we don't need to be MF and Stellantis to the world.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go straight up and tell you, they've made a lot of mistakes recently.
Yeah.
I mean, we just built a $15 million Jeep exclusive build.
Wow.
And I will tell you, our sales have increased, not decreased.
Okay.
Now, but that doesn't mean we're at where we belong. We want to get, I believe that they've gotten the message. The only way to get the message is to stop taking inventory. So, come up with all these crazy ideas, these programs and stock and sell and coupons. And I don't even know if they understand. We did that in the 70s, for Christ's sakes. What are you people thinking about, right? I mean, we did it when we were kids.
Right.
We're adults. We should have learned by our mistakes. So Stellantis has some issues, but I really believe in my heart of hearts that, we say they all take pretty pictures, Jim, right? But when you look behind the scenes, we got to figure out how to fix the problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dealing with the hand we've dealt, we got to play the hand we've dealt.
So as you know, I've spoken to a number of your colleagues that are Stellantis dealers. Oh, yeah. Some are calling for for the leadership to be ousted. Are you saying time out? Let's try to fix what we have in the leaders of Stellantis currently, or where do you fall on that?
I think when someone comes out and says they made a mistake and they've got to fix it, you got to give them an opportunity to fix it, don't you?
Okay. Yeah. No. But some of your colleagues are like, nope, time's up. We need a new vision here.
I don't have a problem with us telling them that to their face. I have a problem telling the whole world to that.
Yeah, I got you.
Jim, every one of my team members at that store, there's 50 people there.
Yeah.
Every one of them are affected by this negative news.
Yeah, I know.
And we're trying to fix it.
Yeah.
But we don't fix it by telling the customers, oh, they suck.
Yeah.
They're giving
Unfortunately, we do live in that realm today, where there's no secrets anymore. I mean, you even get people that'll be in a board meeting and they got their recorder on, and then, hey, here's what was said. You're like, there's nothing that's sacred.
But the problem is this. We tell the marketplace this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then what do you think they say when they want to buy a vehicle from us?
They stay away from it. They go up. They got a problem. Right.
That's my point. So we lose opportunity.
Yeah. So you make you worsen the problem, not make it better. And
Thank you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm not going to tell you I love those people.
Yeah.
That's not coming out of my mouth. What I'm going to tell you is we need to fix our own home before we tell somebody else how to fix theirs.
Yeah, I got you.
So for now, they're making changes.
Yeah.
They've made some changes, and they're not necessarily the best to change. I will say this, though, Jim. There's a time for everything.
Yeah.
I've always said this, even during COVID, I said, this too shall pass.
Yeah.
We'll get to the other side. I just don't know when, but it's going to pass. I think a lot of the people that have left the brand, if you look at it, you mentioned earlier my sons, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've got people that worked at Stellantis for 30-some years.
Yeah.
You can't blame them.
Yeah, that's right.
They're employees of the company.
That's right.
The people that made the decision are this upper echelon people. And he went public and said, I made a mistake.
Yeah.
And it's on me.
Yeah.
Right? So now fix it.
That's right. He was a well-respected executive, too. I mean, prior to jumping in here. So... And taking the lead. So maybe you're right. Maybe you're onto something to say, hey,
but here's the thing. Here's the thing we got to remember. The spots on the Leopard don't change. He came from Nissan.
Yeah.
That's not good.
But you're making a case now to boom out. But
I don't think we win by losing.
Yeah.
I think we win by collectively saying, what are we going to do to get this thing to work?
Yeah.
And I know the board has been really working hard at this. And I watched that interview you had with David about, he was very, very open and honest about it. And I commend him for his ability to openly speak.
Yeah. He's a former chairman of the dealer council. He's on the board now. I mean, he's up close and personal. And by the way, he's a standalone, Stellantis store. So he doesn't have other franchises. This is like he said, this is my family's future.
Yeah. So I can honestly tell you that we're not making a lot of money at our Stellantis store today.
No.
But for 25 years, we've made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Now, maybe 1 year we didn't, but we just spent $15 million to build. And if you go online and you look at this new Jeep store I built, it's best in class. And it's just spectacular.
I'm sure.
And it's helped us to deliver a better product, meaning from us.
Right.
It's helped our staff feeling good about, hey, the BMW store or the Audi store, what are we doing? And now it's like we're on a level playing field.
Yep.
I think by this time next year, we will have a different volume of what's going on.
Yeah. Do you?
I don't think it's going to happen overnight.
And that goes fast. I mean, a year is like boom. So if you think they can right the ship,
I don't think we have a choice, Jim. What's the option?
Yeah. No, obviously the choice would be you apply enough pressure, the CEO steps down, they put somebody else in place that everybody feels good about. Now, whether or not that person can deliver is a whole nother topic, because we've seen that happen in the auto industry before as well.
Just remember, the speed of the ship is the speed of the captain.
Yeah.
And Carlos put a new regime in place. And he came out and told us all at NADA how he's going to do all these great things. And you heard David say they haven't seen or heard from him.
Right.
What I can tell you is they put somebody in charge of Jeep and they didn't let him stay several months. And then they moved him.
I know.
I mean, look, so the message that I tell them all the time is the same thing. If you make a mistake, own it.
Mm-hmm.
Take the intestinal fortitude it takes to fix it.
Right.
And then go forward. So I'd rather say we got to step back to step forward.
Right.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you they suck. They aren't my best friends, but they're my partners.
Yeah, absolutely. As all OEMs are to dealers. I mean, you're in it together. For sure.
But one thing I can tell you this, there are some that understand it so much better than others.
Yeah.
Don't look at my financial statements for 21 and tell me how, you can jack prices to the moon.
Right.
And everybody's done it, Jim. It's not
I
like,
know. I know. It's exactly
we're
right.
up 30% in transaction, right?
Yep.
And so at some point, what's happened is the pre-owned business is dramatically increased because the disparity in pricing.
Yeah,
right? It
that's
used to be
right.
tight. Now it's a significant difference.
Yeah.
So look, if you've been doing this for as long as we have, you play the hand you dealt.
Yeah, you do. There's no question
and you
about
got to
it.
have a strong, not only sales side, but after sales side.
Yeah.
You got to make sure that your after sales business is, and that's why we need the volume of sales to occur.
That's right.
So that we continue to keep that after sales business and for a longer period of time.
That's right. That's right. I had the pleasure of interviewing Bob Nardelli, the former chairman and co-CEO of Chrysler, when during 2008, 2009.
We were there.
Those were some tough years. I mean, it was unbelievable. So he was working for $1 a year back then.
I watched you interview him. He was pretty remarkable in his career.
Yeah, he really was. Oh my gosh, what a career! I mean, from GE to Home Depot to Chrysler, and just a great guy. So
no, he did well for us.
No question about it. Well, Joe Laham, president of Premier Companies, thank you for giving me so much time here at CBT News. I know that our viewers and our dealers that are viewing will get a lot out of your visit. You might get some mail. You might get some emails to say, hey, I agree with you. You might even get some that say, teach me how to do this one price selling.
I think you know this better than anybody, Jim. If it's not in your heart, it's not in your head.
I agree.
And you have to believe in it before you can achieve it. And and you're right. I have seen where they've, we did it. No, we got away from that. You got away from it because your salesman didn't want to be saying that I can justify my position.
That's right.
Or your account manager didn't want to justify his position, or your general manager couldn't do the things they did. So don't be so naive to understand that there's a reason people don't want to do it.
That's
because every person does more except management.
Yep.
And if you want to justify your position, you don't want that to happen.
That's right. In fact, what we found at AutoNation is when we convert a store, we really needed a new team, because to try to, teach those old dogs that new trick of one price, they almost couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. They couldn't put pen to paper and have, the courage to say, nope, that's our bottom line. Even though you're sitting on a 2-pounder or a 3-pounder, the customer's heading for the door, they would just collapse and go, wait a minute, we'll give you $1,000 more for your, and you can't do that in a one price structure.
The simplest process in place is to humble yourself.
Yeah.
Just humble yourself to say, we're going to treat customers the way we treat our own family.
Yeah, that's right.
We're not going to crush somebody that's our aunt or our uncle or brother or sister.
Right. That's right. You're going to cut right to the chase. Here's an acceptable gross. Let's do the deal.
But, Jim, if you look at all franchises, this is what happens with every deal. But somehow they all end up at that average.
I know.
Why don't we just start there?
I know. And by the way, that average has been the average for so many years. Why do we keep coming right back down to the average? You asked me what was the average. It was $1,500 front gross, $1,000 back. It was $2,500 deal. There's a lot of stores still running today, 20 years later, with the same number. It's amazing.
You just put the exclamation point on it. That's exactly what I said to my now, here's the other thing. How do you manage a business where every single deal is different?
I know.
There's no consistency. The only thing is inconsistency, and it all depends on who's doing what, where, and when.
Yep, that's right.
And I can't run a business. So you don't even need a doc, because if you sold this many vehicles, you wrote this many ROs, and you know what the number's going to be. And
it's a beautiful thing.
Dad, how much do you think it ended up at? And I will give him a number, and within, $50,000 to $60,000 on 8 stores, they look at me and like, how do you know this? I'm like, because it's just what you just said. It's the same thing. It's never changed.
That's right.
Who are we trying to kid?
That's right.
So customer satisfaction, they check the box.
Oh, yeah.
Customer loyalty is what we want.
That's right.
You can't build loyalty when someone has to come in and negotiate every single time on every single deal.
That's right.
And when they leave, do they really know, how do they really know they got a good deal?
They don't. In fact, you know the one that you sat there for 4 hours, whittle down, more on the trade. The deal's done. You walk into the door, and they still tell you, you made $3,000 on me. You're like, what? Wait a minute, time out. I lost money on you.
Yeah, the one who negotiates the most, Jim, is the worst customer you can have.
The worst customer. You want to fire him, you know?
And so that's a good point.
Yeah.
In a lot of instances, I would tell my team, sometimes you got to thank them for not giving you their business.
That's right.
Just say,
let them leave.
Much. Yeah,
it's not the right store for you.
And by the way, we win a lot of customers that don't do that, and then they come back and they say they want to service their vehicle with us, and we say, well, did you purchase from us? And it's no, okay, let's see if we
I
get
saved
you an
$100 down the road.
Yeah, let's see if we can get you an appointment.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
right.
they learn to appreciate you by saying, when can I get in? 4 weeks. Oh, I need it done now. Well, you have to be able to plant the seed, maintain the crop, and then harvest it.
That's right.
And they need to appreciate us as much as we appreciate them. But I'll tell you, for a small group, we're going to deliver over 5,000 vehicles this year.
That's great. Wow, that's fantastic.
And quite frankly, we do it with your son who helps us at Force. Sure. And there's a lot of good things out there. You don't need to get on your knees and kiss someone's ass just to get a deal done.
That's right.
You can be very kind and gentle. And again, I want to leave you with this though, Jim. Good things, good people.
Yeah.
You put the right people in the right place, you get the right results. And I believe that our OEM partners deserve that same respect. Early on in our careers, we probably would have taken them all back and give them a beating. But today, we've learned that we need to be their best friends in business, not necessarily on a personal level. But there's a lot of really good people out there.
Yeah.
It's when someone tells them you can't do this, and they realize that it's the right thing to do. Those are some of the OEMs that are having difficulty. We are going through, some struggles with all these. I mean, we've got a stop sale on with BMW. We got something going without it. There's always something.
Oh, there's always something. There's no.
But it's not like they're picking on just me and you. It's a situation that we need to overcome. I'm a firm believer that this too shall pass, and I think the big, the loud music that's going on today with Stellantis, I think we will turn that around because the products are so much better than they've ever been.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what we need to fix is the people part of that.
Right.
And I really
and
believe
that's fixable. That should be the easy stuff.
I don't think we have a problem. I think that problem is behind us. I think the noise that they made was good. I will reiterate, I don't like it getting on the street because that's all I see.
Yeah.
But I will say that thank you for doing what you do on a daily basis for us. It's been a big help, and I'm sure you know that they hear you too. They hear the music that you play for us.
Yeah, yeah,
so
no question.
We appreciate everything that you do to help us to get the message across.
Happy to do it.
But let's just make sure that we respect each other's position.
Yeah.
And that we make sure that our families continue to grow and prosper.
That's right. That's right. Joe Laham, thank you so much for joining us. This has been great. Really appreciate it.
Look forward to it.
Great.
Thanks for watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.